We're no. Democrats are no on this budget. It is outrageous that you all have the audacity to come here with this budget that harms so many Americans and ask us to support billionaires and think we're going to buy it? You think we're going to support it? Well, you got another thought coming.
We're in the minority. But so long as we stand strong and not one Democrat falters, let me tell you, there are going to be Republicans that don't want to vote for this, and they can't lose more than one vote. So long as we stand together and so long as we're here, and the Republicans, they're dysfunctional. They can't get this done by themselves.
Is this a preview to how Democrats will message leading up to 2026?
Saying fuck off.
The bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question. Okay? This will not be read my lips. There won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud. But no, I'm not. We're not doing anything.
Be leaders ourselves.
Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Back with us is Nikole.
Yay.
From her birthday celebration.
I survived.
Yes. And Shelly E. All right, do me a favor right now. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting for? But definitely hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. It helps to amplify our voice on YouTube. All right, we are here on Rumble. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out all of our super chats throughout the night. So it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your love for conservative content. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. So much to talk about tonight. Of course, we're going to start out tonight with this big, beautiful budget bill, as President Trump called it, that passed yesterday. So President Trump's winning streak continues. And last night, he and Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, can take a bow because they got President Trump's big budget bill passed with a slim majority, with priorities on the border, defense, energy, and taxes. The resolution passed in a 217 to 215 vote. All Democrats voted against the measure, along with one lone Republican, that's Republican Massey, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, who was concerned about its effect on the national deficit. So, as you guys saw, the Democrats firstly did not believe that this was going to pass. And since it has, they have been pushing the line that President Trump and the Republicans are going to do major cuts in Medicare and Medicaid. Nikole, what are your thoughts on this? I got a call last night from my mom, and she was just like, yeah, I can't believe Trump and the Republicans are doing this. They're cutting Medicare and they're cutting Medicaid and all this type of stuff.
Well, you can tell her to relax and enjoy no tax on Social Security. How about that? A little bit more money in her pocket. Listen, our entitlement programs are too big. Once we had the COVID uptake where people were 2,000% above the poverty level and were qualifying for Medicaid and food stamps and all of these entitlement programs, it has to end at some point. We can't continue to support people who are perfectly capable of supporting themselves. We will continue to take care of the elderly, the infirmed, children who are born with birth defects, but grown men, able-bodied working men, have to get themselves together. So yes, the budget's going to be cut, but like any other entity, when you run out of money, you got to stop spending. You got to stop spending.
Yeah, Shelley, they're talking about it's $800 billion, actually $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. $800 billion will be cut from Medicaid, is what they're saying. And so, do you believe that? What are you telling people that are saying that they're going to cut my Medicaid and my Medicare?
I'm going to Home Depot or Lowe's. You know, I had them big grass cutter scissors. I want to get a pair of them. Maybe I can mail them to Michael Johnson and President Trump, and I want to cut some more. And let me tell you why. You can say what you want. I want to see people dying in the streets. No, that's not even true. I'm not even going to respond to that. But this is what I will say. Why is relying on the government to support you? Why does that bring you dignity? Why is that the standard? We have become so accustomed to it that we think that we should do it. I know I've paid into the system. And for, like you said, for people who need it, fine, it's there. But $800 billion, I don't think we need that much. How about when we have our money back, we're able to save, invest, and plan for our future and our medical needs in our own bank accounts. And we can do that. We get to decide. Why does the government get to decide how much money they can take out of our checks and then, quote unquote, invest it for us? And then we, every day going decade or so, it's going to go empty. Where's all it going? No, I'm sick of it. Give me the big scissors and let's cut some more.
Absolutely. Cut it to the bone. To the bone.
Well, one thing we're seeing is, again, like the mainstream media is continuing to push that they're cutting Medicare and Medicaid. Now, President Trump said there's no cuts for Medicare. And he said, as far as Medicaid, that they're not going to continue to pay for able-bodied people.
Exactly.
They're going to put in work requirements. But as far as the actual bill is concerned, or the resolution, I should say, it's going to go back to the House Energy and Commerce Committee, who has to go back and determine where the cuts will come from. So the House committees will meet and build their own framework of Trump's budget, which will then be sent to the Senate and voted on under the budget reconciliation process, which allows for passing budget-related legislation with a simple majority vote rather than requiring 60 senators. So as far as the cuts are concerned, we actually don't know what is going to be cut. Now, President Trump is saying Medicare and Medicaid will be left alone for the most part. But what we're not hearing in the news is all of the great things that were in this bill. Again, as you mentioned, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. I think that was actually one of the biggest things. I know when I used to work overtime, you get your check and all these taxes are taken out.
You can do overtime and get your check, and you have less than if you didn't do overtime.
Exactly.
So now you won't see that. It won't be any taxes. Is that what it is? It's not.
No
tax
overtime.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him not tax bonuses, right?
Because I want no tax at all, no income tax, period. Well, I mean, we can start here. I don't understand why people are so afraid or averse to having their own damn money and managing it. Why do you think that the government is going to manage it better?
Do you know why, Shelley? And I'm going to tell you why. I thought about this pretty long and hard yesterday. There are some people who are afraid of being free because freedom comes with responsibility.
There you go.
It's not just, a privilege, but you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for making sure you have food and shelter. And then once you get good at it, you might be able to afford some fancy things. But freedom costs.
But wait a minute. On the flip side of that, what is the risk? Has the government been doing a damn good job for you? I mean, I'm just saying, because there's a risk to that benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you're going to rely on the government, then what are you really getting for it? Except more, we need more from you. We need more from you. So what are you really getting? You have to weigh the risk and the benefit, the cost, and the pros and cons.
These are some people who never tasted freedom before. Because let me tell you something.
Well, I want to lap it up.
Let me tell you something. If it took everything I have, if it cost me every dollar I'll make in this lifetime, every breath in my body, I'd rather die free than live like a slave every day of the week.
Yeah,
all you
right.
runaway
But
slaves.
you guys know that the Democrats will continue to say, well, what about the elderly? What about the disabled who rely on Medicare and Medicaid to get them through as far as, medical bills and in-home care and things like that?
We're still going to do that. But here's what we're not going to do. Medicaid funding for administrative costs for providing coverage to illegal aliens, and this is just the administrative costs, $7 billion.
Right.
Billion would it
$billion.
be, right? Requiring immigration verification prior to applying for Medicaid. So you're gonna have to give us your fingerprint. You came here.
Well, they got to do that anyway. I know people, plenty of people who rely on Medicaid and or Medicare, and they still cannot meet the requirements because they have to basically sell their whole damn soul to get some diapers or something. So it doesn't work. These people, they are doing what they can do to take care of their loved ones, but they still have the need. If they had their own money for their family, for themselves, and to invest it, they would be able to take care of their loved ones long into their senior years and when they need that. I don't understand this automatic knee-jerk reliance on government, Medicare and Medicaid. I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
They have $880 billion in reductions coming out of energy and commerce, right? They have $2.3 trillion or more in savings coming out of just recouping things that are sponsored for illegal aliens and old illegal aliens. At some point, the tipping has to happen. It's one thing to be generous. In the United States, there is not one other nation on the face of this planet that is as generous as the United States. We take care of the world. If you're sick and infirmed in a little tiny island, send us a note. Somebody gonna send you a care package.
Right.
However, when it comes to taking care of our own people, you start seeing the fangs come out.
Oh yeah.
You see the fangs come out, and that's not the way it's supposed to be.
And we
Let's
know,
take care of home first.
Right. I totally agree. And we know that one of the reasons why the Democrats do not want many of these programs cut is because they're getting paid on the back end. And so they're seeing that their grift, their money that they were sending to these NGOs and all this type of stuff, and these little projects within the states and things that somehow get paid and then probably kick back to them, it's going to come to an end. And they are losing it. And particularly just out today, the Washington Examiner reported that the Democrat Party has a serious problem. They are losing a lot of their donors. So the Hill reports angry Democratic donors are turning off the flow of the money. Democrats are anxious to rebuild their party on the heels of President Trump's victory, but their major problem is they're trying to refashion their brand and the money isn't there. Democratic donors, from bundlers to small dollar donors, say they are still angry about the election results and are uninspired, and they don't agree with the messaging the Democrats are pushing out. A lot of them actually agree with what DOGE is doing and Elon Musk and these tax cuts. What are your thoughts on that? I'm looking at you, Nikole.
Y'all missed it earlier. KJ made me choke on a mint, and it's still like in the middle of but I'm trying to pull myself together. Here's something that is a hard sentence for most conservative people to say. Liberals are Americans too, right? And there's something about the American spirit when you see someone taking advantage of another person that makes you kind of rile up. So what we're seeing now is what we call blue dog Democrats. These are middle of the road. They're closer to the center politically, who are saying, well, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to fund, Iranian Sesame Street. I don't know if that's where I want my money to go. So they're looking for leadership. And what they're still getting from the current Democrat leadership is 1970s style protests. They're out singing old Negro spirituals and union hymns, and they're acting like there's this huge civil rights implication, what's going on and saving them money, and it's not resonating. So they're trying everything. So you've got, legislators out here cursing and cracking on folk, and people on TV talking about, Trump's Nazi and Elon Musk is some kind of data stealing, megalomaniac. They're throwing everything against the wall, hoping that something sticks with the American people. What usually sticks, cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. That gets everybody's attention.
Right.
It gets everybody's attention.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I was just talking about these donors and the idea that they're not going along with these Democrats.
Most donors, regardless of whatever the program or the organization is, most donors want to see a return on his or her investment, whatever it is, whether we support it or not. That's what they want. So when you're not getting that, you okay, I'm going to pull back. Well, the American people should be doing the same thing. We're not getting a return on our investment, big government. Let's pull back. I think this is according to the National Desk, 76% of Americans support what is happening with DOGE or Elon Musk and Trump, whatever, because they know at least 76, at least 3 out of 100, 3 out of 4 people believe and know that the government is not giving us the best for our bucks. We do better. I still will ask this question: when did relying on the government become the standard or the marker to achieving the American dream? Why? It's demeaning. You've worked all your life. Your mom, whatever, your grandparents, your elderly relatives who may need some medical care, particularly in the home. You have to wait on someone to approve, to send you XYZ briefs and things like that. That's no dignity.
Right.
Yeah,
you're right.
You know what? They live in an undignified time. When you think back to the founding of this nation and you look at the conversations that happened around the Constitution and the Federalist Papers, they talked about poor people. And they never wanted poor people to get so comfortable on the dole that they preferred being poor. So think back to those times. They had what they called workhouses. And these places were horrible. If you're a Charles Dickens fan and you've read Oliver Twist, that's what I'm talking about. It was terrible. They gave you a couple crumbs of bread. You worked like a Hebrew slave. It was a terrible, terrible thing, but it encouraged you not to be poor.
Yeah. Guys, I want to get your thoughts on this and everything that we just talked about. What did you think about this new bill, the bill that passed last night in the House? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Do you think that there are going to be cuts to Medicare and Medicaid? What are your thoughts? Sound off in the chat. I do want to acknowledge some of our new members in Super Chats. Folks, thank you all so much. Naomi Shaw joined the Freedom Seekers Club. Thank you so much. All right. And we have Maria also is a new member. Welcome. Absolutely. Folks, definitely check out our merch store. Also, you can go right to poppinpolitics.com poppinpoliticslive.com and click on the shop button, and we have our merch store. You can get these very nice mugs that we have here. They're very cool. Not black, not white, but American. Don't let them divide us. And then we have our Poppin' Politics mug. Also, we also have t-shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of merch on that store. Certainly check it out. We've gotten an overwhelming amount of people interested. So there is a slight delay on items coming in, but we certainly appreciate your support. All right. So I want to move on. Nikole, you mentioned leadership. And so we just got an announcement this week from Byron Donalds. Take a look. Yes, this is clip 2.
I mean, you got the support of President Trump. Where do you stand? Are you ready to make the plunge?
Well, look, Sean, after a lot of prayer, a lot of thoughts with my family and my friends, I'm here to announce my candidacy to be the next governor of the great state of Florida. And Sean, we have a wonderful state. I got to Florida when I was 17 years old off of a Greyhound bus with just a trunk full of clothes. And over the rest of my time in Florida, I built a family. I built a career, 17 years in financial services. I joined the Tea Party movement, was in the conservative movement. I was able to serve 4 years in the state legislature, 4 years in Congress. And I think now is the time to now take the mantle and lead our state into the future. We have a great governor. Ron DeSantis has done a tremendous job for our state. But now the job is to keep the best state in the country as the best state in the country. And so that's going to be the mission at hand. And I'm excited to announce my candidacy with you tonight.
Wow. So he has thrown his hat in the ring. That's Congressman Byron Donalds. Trump actually endorsed him this week also. So what are your thoughts on this, Nikole?
Listen, he is the chairman of our board. So I am, full disclosure, a huge Byron fan. And we knew this was coming. We knew that he would get the Trump endorsement. We call it the Trump bump. And it's going to be on and popping. You guys looking for me? I'm going to be in Florida hitting them doors and making it work.
Well, I do. I'm excited for Byron Donalds. I'm supportive of him. Absolutely. If I could vote in Florida like the Democrats do, they cheat, I would do that and come back to Maryland and vote. But also want to announce Vivek announced his candidacy for governorship too. So we got two powerhouses there. I'm supportive. If I could go to Ohio and vote, I would do that too, and then come back to Maryland.
They probably let you do that. I know.
Well, before you pop out the balloons, Ron DeSantis had some comments this week. So full disclosure, you all know who have watched the show for quite some time that I am a huge Ron DeSantis fan. I actually supported him in the primary.
Oh, that's
I did.
Yes, you did.
Before
KJ, I
did.
You can have it, sis.
Well, he didn't. Did I support him in the primary?
Yeah, you did.
I did. Okay, yeah, I did. So particularly on the parental rights and the education.
Oh, for sure.
So he has some thoughts on this. So he says, as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis approaches the end of his second term, according to Fox News, he's talking up one potential heir to succeed him in 2026, his wife, Casey DeSantis. And he's taking a shot at President Donald Trump's pick to be the next governor. So Monday, he was questioned about this. He touted his wife as a staunch conservative who would build on his legacy and argued that the state's first lady could pull in even more votes than he did. DeSantis won a dominant re-election victory. Guys, we can't take it away. He has done a phenomenal job in Florida. But he said, she says she's somebody that has, I think, the intestinal fortitude and the dedication to conservative principles. Anything we've accomplished should have been able to take the next. She'd be able to take the next level. And then he said, a guy like Byron, he just hasn't been a part of any of the victories that we've had here over the left over these last years. What do you think about that, Nikole?
So listen, I get that Ron wants a third term. I get that. And having his wife run guarantees him that. But here's what I know for a fact. Bring that smoke. Bring that smoke.
I don't want it.
Let me tell you.
He should do it.
He's not. And let me tell you why. That Trump bump in Florida is tremendous. That was why this was the first endorsement. It spoke to the heart of who Byron is. When he talks about how he came to Florida, broke, trunk full of clothes, and made Florida his home, was raised his family there. You talk about a tremendous wife. His wife, Erica, is a powerhouse unto herself. She started charter schools where kids use VR, virtual reality, so they could hold a human heart beating in their hand. Not because she's an educator, she's an accountant. She did it for her own children, right? So let's not forget, Ron, how you got elected. Let's not forget how you got there. That tremendous win that he got came on the backs of people like Erica Donalds, who started charter schools.
Yeah. Shelley, you have comments?
You want to read that? We want to read that super chat first?
So what's the super chat?
We have two of them.
Gimpy with a $5 super chat says, we see a clear battle for heir to MAGA forming in Florida. The real question is how many will try to claim the throne? Wow.
I'm glad you said
and
that.
We had
Gimpy.
Another super chat here. I thought we did.
We
Kenzie
did.
14 with a $5 super chat says, what's up, ladies? You all look beautiful. Hi, Miss KJ. Thank you.
Hey, Miss KJ.
I'm sorry. So look, I see why. This is why President Trump called Ron sanctimonious, right? Because this is, to me, this speaks of sanctimony with Ron DeSantis. Number one, it's a little arrogant. It's a little, showy. This is my second point. My second point may help explain your question a little bit. I don't think conservatives, my side, as much as I harp on them sometimes, I think rightfully so when it's appropriate, I don't think conservatives are too much on the nepotism train.
Right.
I don't think we want to be any more called grifters any more than we need to be, okay? Then there are some Republicans, of course, I say both sides, particularly as it relates to Congress, but I don't think conservatives are going to take this, too kindly. It's time for you to go, Ron DeSantis. I take nothing from you. I didn't support you in the primary, but I take nothing from your tenureship in Florida. You've done a great job overall. But Casey does not need to be there. I doubt very seriously if she will even win the primary. Maybe I'm wrong, but look, just be gracious. You should support Byron Donalds. That's just it. Again, I can see, if you follow this, I can honestly see why President Trump called you sanctimonious.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't like to see this either. I don't like to see this. I think, President Trump endorsed Byron Donalds, who I believe is a great, he's a great, phenomenal pick, for governor. Then, I just say, just bow out.
Exactly.
But I do think I'm not totally in agreement with what you said, particularly because yes, I don't think there should be any type of nepotism.
Right, passing of the crown.
Right. I'm not sure that this is what that is. But
what would it be?
Well, I say, Ron DeSantis is a huge conservative voice, a true conservative. A true conservative. When you can say MAGA, you can say, the conservative. He's a true conservative. He was right there with abortion rights, pro-lifers. He was been right there with parental rights. He's been one of the few that was standing up against this gender ideology before it was cool.
Right.
And he's done a great job in Florida. So I think he deserves a little bit of grace. Maybe.
I don't take anything from him.
I think he deserves a little bit of
taking nothing from him. Because him and her are two different people. And that's what I think conservatives see that as. When you see these mega churches and the husband's the pastor, and now all of a sudden his wife's the pastor.
It has that
kind of,
that's what I'm saying. And let me say this: I did not vote for Ron DeSantis in the primary, but always said, had he become the nominee, I was going to vote for him. That was not a question for me. I just don't like the appearance, if you will. Even when conservatives say the other side does it, and then we do it, and then we have a justification for it. No, and again, let me say this. In her own right, as an American, Casey has every bit to run as anybody else, as an American. But we know that that's her husband, and it just smacks of this appearance of. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's my thing: if she's going to run, then she needs to run, not him, and say, "Well, I did all of this, and this is my wife." She needs to put on her heels and take to the middle of the stage, hold the microphone, and tell us what she's working with.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, she better bring a sledgehammer because we're coming for that.
I'm sorry, I got one more point. One more point. I'm sorry. Had Michelle Obama run on her husband's coattails, we would have said the same thing about her.
Yep.
We would have said that about Obama, Michelle Obama.
I don't know. To me,
Hillary Clinton, we said the same thing about Hillary.
Well, I think it really matters on the popularity of the person. Now, conservatives were scared to death. If Michelle Obama had ran instead of Kamala, instead of Biden, we were scared. Because she was polling very well.
Still part of the attack, if you will, would have been, that's her husband is there, was president, and now she's running. She's gonna run on. We would have said something to that degree.
Oh, we would have said Barack's third term. That's what we would. I'm gonna tell you what the T-shirt would have said. It would have said Barack 3.0. Exactly. This is what it would have said, because no one likes that.
Right.
If you're going to be a candidate, and listen, I support women candidates, conservative women, 100%. I've got a whole virtual club dedicated to Republican women all over the nation running for office, right? It's a wonderful thing. And it's hard to break away from your husband's shadow.
Right.
If we're just being honest about women in politics, you look at Hillary Clinton. It took her years to separate herself from Bill.
Exactly.
And even once she did that, she still couldn't get all the stink off of her.
Again, we didn't vote. I'm sorry, we didn't vote for Hillary. I didn't vote for Hillary.
Of course
but on that note, in her own right, she did separate herself to some degree.
Yeah, she did. She did. Yeah. She did a couple of things. Okay. We want to acknowledge our super chatters. And folks, what do you think? You heard that DeSantis seems to be pushing Casey DeSantis. What do you think? Is it Casey DeSantis or is it Byron Donalds for governor of Florida? Sound off in the chat. Mark Slater with the $10 super chat says, "Miss my ladies." Thank you so much, Mark. All right, thank you all so much. And I want to shout out. I want to hear if you guys, the production, can push out the chats about who they think. Is it Byron Donalds or is it Casey DeSantis, or are you undecided? Now, I'm curious to see what you guys think on that.
Let's go.
Let's go, Byron. Let's
all
go.
Right, yeah, Team Byron all the way.
That's
all right, it's filed. I told Karen Allen, I totally love Byron. All right, Corey, I would vote for Byron before I'd vote for Mrs. DeSantis.
There you go, Corey.
Right. There it is. There it is. All right, Karen Braun, he is great as a governor, but his presidential run was terrible.
Okay.
It was. He swayed left and right. Okay. Where his donors were pushing. I don't know about that. Had he stayed on his principles, what principles did he not stay on?
Everybody does that.
He would have done. Yeah. What principles did he not stay? He was one of the lone ones. I don't want to go. No. I don't want to go down this road. All right.
You should have come to Heritage when he was speaking.
Okay.
Just a simple thing. I mean, a very simple thing. He had on alligator boots, and in Florida,
the ones with the heel,
but they have the Seminoles. They have two major universities, and so someone asked him jokingly, "Well, you have on gator boots. What are you going to do for the Seminoles?" And he's like, "Well, the Seminoles killed the alligator to make the boots." That's what's wrong with your kid. That's what's wrong with that, dude.
All right. Let's move on here.
Okay.
All right. We're getting off of the conservatives. We want to talk about these nutty liberals, nutty leftists. And speaking of that, Jon Stewart. All right. So he totally lost his mind over DOGE recently this week. Take a look at this clip. This is clip 4.
Oh, can it be? The companies we subsidize with billions of dollars are allowing us the privilege to negotiate the price of 10 of their drugs? And 10 is all of them, right? It would be embarrassing if it was a small drop in the bucket and that the American people didn't expect that we should negotiate for all their f***ing drugs because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Come on! I'll be going to the hospitals.
What a nut! And you guys, that clip did not even show most of it. I mean, as he continued on, he had blood dripping from his hands, and he smeared it across the desk, and the audience was disgusted.
Are you serious? I didn't see the rest of that too.
Mark Slater with the $10 super chat says Donalds in 2032. It's actually 2026. I think
he's talking about running for president.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you, Mark. Yes, absolutely. Vita with the $5 super chat says, "Love you, ladies. Byron should run for governor of New York. Tiger Queen, slay blessing to everyone." Okay.
I know that's right, Miss Vita.
All right. So, I mean, did you see Jon Stewart? I mean, he lost it, right, Shelley? Overdose.
Well, I don't know if he ever had it, but he did lose whatever little bit he did have. I don't even know what he was talking about. I mean, it was just so emphatic and just dramatic. I mean, these people are actors in their own right, I guess. I do not even know what he was talking about. He reminded me of a you know how Biden couldn't talk, you didn't understand him. Well, Jon Stewart was the visual form of that.
Well, he was talking about subsidies. So he said he felt DOGE should cut subsidies if they want to cut spending. Did you understand it?
I did understand it, but again, this is performative. This is leftist. Everybody's fighting for the top chair because the chair is empty. Do you know what I mean? There's no definitive leader. There's no definitive voice. So what you see are Democrats behaving badly, and in behaving badly, he seriously injured his hand. If the universe is sending him a message, this is it. Settle down, sir. Settle down.
Yeah, this is crazy. And so let's talk about this because, again, we mentioned at the top of the show, DOGE has gotten a lot of bad press from the media recently. And so I wonder why that is. Well, we did some digging and, they were talking about it in a press release today that most of this media coverage is backed by Soros. So earlier this month, There are a bunch of left-wing groups backing anti-DOGE protests across the country, funding a variety of progressive causes in recent years. MoveOn.org announced that it was mobilizing resources as part of a Congress Works for Us, Not Musk initiative. And so we know that they've taken millions of dollars from George Soros and Open Society Policy. So, I mean, Nikole, are we seeing here what we saw around the BLM movement, around the defund the police movement?
Absolutely. And I have never, ever agreed with BLM, but this is the moment that I agree with them.
Ooh.
This is the one thing, y'all write it down, mark my words, put a circle and a star on the calendar on this day that Nikole Bennett officially agreed with something with BLM. They got to stop this performative foolishness. It's not doing anybody any good. It's not moving the needle. And the more you double down on dumb, the more the Republicans look normal, right? We're already the cool kids. You're just making it. When you roll out Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters, there's a walker, there's a cane, wigs on backwards. I mean, they just tore up from the floor up. And then they're singing these songs that nobody's ever heard of, talking about we won't rest. Sit down. Sit down, people. You need a rest. You need a rest. But they're not resonating with the American people. So they're going to try anything and everything to make some kind of connection with America. As they're doing it now, we're kicking their butts, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah. What is your thoughts on this, Shelley?
I agree with you that this is a remake or a rehash of the BLM and all of the different riots. I think these people are, number one, I think they're lunatics, but it's interesting how they can come together and this quickly, of course, funded by the donors, Soros and others, and they can protest DOGE and all these cuts, but you do not hear them advocating to give the people back their money. It's all about, whatever this entitlement they think it is. So to me, at least on the surface of it, to me, it says to them that they get more in kickbacks from the government than the people actually get from paying into the system. So this is it's a grift. We call it grift. It's a money grab, money laundering. Of course, Soros is a billionaire or times however many in his own right, but he can whatever call it, cattle the masses to do this. Why don't these people take their butts to meaningful employment and make their own living? They got all the time in the world to go out here and protest all of this. And the people that they claim to be supporting still are basically living in poverty.
Yeah. And I know this isn't on the schedule, but I wanted to get you guys' opinion on the email that went out from Elon Musk, because President Trump made an announcement because he doubled down on it. So he said he warned that 1 million or more federal employees are now on the bubble because of their failure to respond to an email demanding they justify their jobs. So these federal employers, I mean, they were all over CNN, MSNBC, griping and complaining that they had to respond to Elon Musk, telling him what they did the week prior. Was this a big ask?
It was not a big ask. It's like taking candy from a baby, quite literally. When you tell your kid, no, you can't have the rest of the Coca-Cola or Pepsi Cola, you get the same reaction. This is the temper tantrum. Daddy's home and he said no. And you're going to feel some kind of way, but you better feel some kind of way on the clock and get your work done. Because these afternoon protests that they've been having with these federal workers, it's about 30 minutes. Takes up 30 minutes of their lunch break, but they're back at the desk on time. Because he meant what he said and he said what he meant. And people who didn't answer, they should be feeling some kind of way.
What's your thoughts on this, Shelley?
I know a few people who responded, and I think out of 5 people, maybe 3 of them said, okay, it was something, it was a surprise, if you will, because they had never had that before, right? So it was a surprise that ask even came through. They did it and it was over with. I know a couple of people who were upset about it, saying, we need to focus on other things. I agree. We need to focus on the whole damn government. I want to cut in half. I want to cut 3 times and then I cut this some more. But this was an opportunity, basically. You should showcase what you did. It was 5 bullet points. Or 5 items, not 5 per day, 5 out of the whole week. And you didn't even necessarily have to do those things at your desk. I'm just saying, if you thought about it, it just said name 5 things you did, I guess, that you accomplished during the week for your job, whatever. So it wasn't like they were asking you for a whole resume.
Respond. It's coming from a government email address. Just respond. We know that politically, if you want to call it that, it was a sort of a as a test. It's a test, if you will. So, okay, just take the test.
Well, he said that. He said, we're going to send another email, Elon Musk said, but our goal is not to be capricious or unfair. We want to give people every opportunity to send an email. And the email could simply be, what I'm working on is too sensitive or classified to describe. Like literally just that would be sufficient. I think this is just common sense. That's what Elon Musk is quoted as saying. So, I mean, I think this is it's the email. They're trying to see who is actually there, who is actually getting these emails and actually working.
If OPM was doing its job, even before President Trump, long before, again, I don't care if Republican, Democrat administration, if OPM was doing its job, OPM would be filtering out, cleaning out the rolls regularly, testing, if you will, shutting down email addresses. People are coming and going instead of leaving all of these quote unquote unoccupied positions and vacant positions open on the books. Right. So all of these things need to be tested, surveyed, whatever, looked at. But OPM, again, the agency has not really been doing its job among other government agencies that have not been. There's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse amongst all government agencies. And you know what I say? Let's go from top to bottom. I don't care if it's Department of Defense or the street sweeper. We need to clean house.
Yeah. Well, folks, definitely sound off in the chat what you think about that. Was it too much to ask, or was it was it reasonable? And please hit the like button. We definitely need you guys to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, but definitely hit the like button. It helps to amplify our voice here on YouTube. All right. So now we're about to really go in. Okay. So of course, we are still in Black History Month, month of February. When is it? When's the 28th? When's the last
Friday?
Oh, okay. So, and The View commemorated Black History Month recently. Take a look at this. This is clip 5.
We should note, again, and you and I have said this in the air many times, there is no evidence that Joe Biden was, involved in any wrongdoing.
Of course, want to note that there is no evidence that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden has done anything wrong. I just want to reiterate.
And let's be clear for the viewers.
There is no evidence Biden did anything wrong.
Governor, you got a second?
Literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your talk? Because I don't believe it.
This is why independent media is so important. Thanks to people like you, patriots who love America and stand for truth, we're making a difference. Together, we've turned them off, called them out for their lies and propaganda, and held them accountable for their disdain for God-fearing, freedom-loving Americans like us. But we can't stop here. It's time to take action with our dollars. Let's make 2025 the year we double down on our commitment to values-driven choices. Vote with your dollars. Support Made in America. Back companies that honor our families, faith, and country. We found an exciting way to make this switch, and we want you to join us. Check out www.popandswitch.com and click Yes, I want to make the switch. It's that easy. It's time to walk away from corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard that undermine our principles. Let's invest in America. Let's support businesses that share our love for this country. You don't have to take on everything at once, but you can start here. Join us in making this one small yet powerful step. Visit www.popandswitch.com. Click the link and schedule a call with our team to learn how you can make the switch. Together, we can create real change.
And so we're continuing our Black History Month celebration of women who have pushed us forward. And Sunny has it today.
Thank you, Whoopi. Today we honor investigative journalist Nikole Hannah-Jones, who continues to redefine our national conversations on race. Born in Waterloo, Iowa, her award-winning career covering race, class, education, and equity all started with a letter to the editor of her local paper at just 11 years old. Jones joined the New York Times in 2015 and published her groundbreaking investigative piece 4 years later, The 1619 Project. The collection of essays and art backdated the founding of the United States from 1776 to 1619, the year when the first enslaved Africans arrived in Virginia. Although it was met with backlash, the project went on to become a best-selling book, a Hulu docuseries and podcast, and inspired her children's book, Born on the Water. Jones's work led her to give a speech before the UN in 2022 and has earned her an Emmy and Pulitzer Prize. Today, she's empowering the next generation of truth seekers through her Ida B. Wells Society for Investigative Reporting while serving as the Knight Chair at Howard University. And back in her hometown in Iowa, Jones established the 1619 Freedom School, a free community-based after-school literacy program where she continues to share the message that education is the key to freedom.
She looks a mess. Oh, yeah, this woman. All right, so we're going to really get into Miss Pennywise because, you know, nothing that should not represent, at least in my opinion, should not represent Black History Month. She's actually been the total opposite to not only Black history, which she fabricates and lies about, but American history. We want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Kung Fu CJ
Hi, Kung Fu.
says, "Hey ladies," and Tyrone, I am late but here. All right. Tyrone's on Monday nights. He's not here tonight, but thank you so much. Vita, what says fires? Altadena lost 94,000 homes. Palisades 60,000.
Okay, that's so many people.
Yeah,
Wow.
our hearts go out to all those that were involved that lost their homes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I want to really dig into this because The View continues their Marxism advocacy with their latest segment honoring Nikole Hannah-Jones for Black History. So first off, she is a divisive figure who basically was she was the numero uno
Before
of money grifters. And she's clashed in academic circles. She's accused of rewriting history to push a left-wing agenda in education and media. What are your thoughts on her, Shelley?
I think she looked like a clown. That's what we were talking about. But that, whatever her outfit. Nevertheless, look, the only thing I will say for maybe positive about Nikole Hannah-Jones is that I can, to a degree, understand her advocacy of history as a historian, as an investigative journalist. However, she distorts it a lot. She distorts it. I don't have a
historian if you're lying.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with people teaching students about history. Even in the year 1619, when the first Blacks were brought to the shores of what was known, what came to be known as the United States. That's one thing, but she distorts it. She misrepresents it. Not only that, this is where I think she also messes up big time, hugely, as they say in the celebrity world. She only focuses on the slavery, and she doesn't give the other balance about people who came out. Now, I mean, now, according to Jamal Bryant, we just runaway slaves. We should still be enslaved, according to him. But she doesn't encourage students and, quote unquote, empower them to say, okay, this is history, but you don't have to be there. You are in the United States of America. You can achieve the American dream, whatever your little heart desires, if you will. But she doesn't do that. It's this slave mentality. It's this victim mentality. It's this entitlement mentality. It's this, the government, again, the government owes you, Black people, if you will, Black students, this is what you need to do, and basically grift.
Nikole,
So,
I just have to jump in here because first of all, she is not a historian, and she was not pushing anything about Black history that was true. She was pushing Marxist revisionism is what she was pushing. The 1619 Project, as she pushes it, saying that the United States was built on slavery and the whole founding was built on slavery, is a lie and has been debunked. She has been debunked. The whole thing has been debunked. She actually had to go back and retract it.
Yeah, but she did. Oh, she did that. Yes.
Yeah. So she is a charlatan, in my opinion. Nikole, what's your thoughts?
So I want to say something positive about her. because my maiden name is Nikole Jones. So there's got to be some kind of little something, in there. And here's the thing: she took a lie and made profit on it. That's my positive moment.
Okay.
She made some change. She made some change, right? But here's the problem: in making that change, she set the movement back 100 years, because instead of saying, this is where we started and look at where we are, her focus is on staying where we started. Listen, American slavery was horrific. There's no debating that. It is what it is. It's a blight on our culture. It's a scar on our nation. Hear the word scar. We're not actively bleeding from slavery. We've healed, and there's some tissue. There's some tissue damage, right? But when you think about communities like Dorchester here in Maryland, where 50% of the people who lived there were Black and they were free.
Right.
And
it's like Maryland's called the Free State.
A couple of them had some slaves. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. It was the culture of the day. It didn't make it right, but it is what it is. She took a little grain of history and made millions.
She did.
Millions. But by that same token, she has infected the mind of children with this victimhood card that makes them feel entitled to treat other people poorly because poor old me, my ancestors were a slave. Here's the truth. Those ancestors would slap the slap the Black off of you for doubling down on slavery instead of living like a free man.
Absolutely.
Because they fought for freedom. I mean, they fought for freedom. Some people lost their lives fighting for freedom. And here we are today with freedom all around us, and people are still choosing to be dependent.
Right. All because of this whole victim oppressed mentality, like you said. And I mean, as you mentioned, she made millions off of this grift. Her, Ibram X. Kennedy, all of them made millions off of this grift, and in viewing everything through the lens of slavery. So much so, she said tipping was racist.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, she posted a tweet and said tipping is a legacy of slavery, and if it's not optional, then it shouldn't be a tip, but simply included in the bill. She wrote, "Have you ever stopped to think why we tip? Like why tipping is a practice in the U.S. and almost nowhere else? The practice of tipping is straightforward: money in exchange for work or service. But its roots in America are where the story becomes complicated." So again, first of all, that's wrong. Tipping, you can look this up, started like in the 1800s. Wealthy Americans discovered it for themselves in the 1850s and 1860s, but it was originated in Europe in taverns is where they tip. So again, this is history that she chooses to ignore and push a racial Marxist narrative.
She's perverting history.
Yeah,
That's what she does. She perverts the history to fit her particular narrative. Does that not sound familiar? Hint, hint, the DNC. But this is what they do. America has woken up, though. I hate to say that we woke, but guess what, folks? We woke. Here's the thing. She made so much money so quickly. She had to figure out how to continue the grift.
Exactly.
What's the new thing? I got to throw something else on the fire to keep the flames going.
So I had this book. I bought this book because we were talking about her, and I'm just starting it. But it's called Black Fortunes by Shamari Wills. And I'm thinking, has Nikole, what is her name? Hannah-Jones. Nikole Hannah-Jones. I wonder if she ever tells people, and these are modern people right now, the ones I'm going to mention: Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, a few other people. There were some Black millionaires in here. These were some of the first Black millionaires in America. I wonder if she ever tells her students about these types of people and how they came through slavery and overcame it and still became millionaires in the early 19th century. So I don't think she does that. That's what I mean about this victim. Slavery, unfortunately, slavery still sells. And it sells and pays off big to those who purport it and push it only from the victim narrative.
Yes.
They don't use it from a historical perspective. It's like you said, this is where we were and this is where we are. And this is how you can get from A to Z, doing many things in America, not just grifting people. Again, I'm still going to stick to, I don't fault her as an investigative journalist, as a historian in her own right. But she does use history in many ways, a perverted way to use your word, Nikole, and she still uses it to keep young people's minds enslaved and entrapped. Again, according to Jamal Bryant, those who want to get away from the plantation, the runaway slaves, there's something wrong with that. And that's what Nikole Hannah-Jones pushes as well.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you all so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right, Prince of the Cats with a $20 super chat. Thank you.
Thank you so
Says
much.
these race baiters don't
Exactly.
care about color. The only color that matters is green money. That's their job. Absolutely. Yep. Rico says, looking lovely, ladies. I see you showing off the legs.
Oh, don't be looking at our legs, Rico.
Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says she lied about history. She doesn't talk about the blacks who owned slaves.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Rico again says, why get mad? Just tell them what you did. All right. Yeah. And especially what Kung Fu CJ said. That's exactly what she does. And not only doesn't she talk about the blacks who own slaves, she does not mention where slavery began. We know in Africa, slavery was, of course, a grave moral evil. It was also common. It was common in the time. The United States indeed did tolerate slavery, and the Southern states fought for the continuation of slavery during the Civil War. But virtually all countries in human history who supported slavery during that time, including African countries, shipping Africans to the Americans in chains. But the first European country to ban import of slaves was Denmark in 1803. And then Britain outlawed it in 1807. And then the United States passed legislation banning slaves in 1808. So again, and then of course we all know we fought the Civil War, where what was it? How many people died? 620,000 Americans died, nearly half the total number of Americans to die in all wars combined.
What we never also hear about is we never hear about the Arab slave trade, which was the biggest one. They traded slaves all over the known world. And truth be told, the Arab world, at least they're still enslaving people, right? But we never hear about that. And these are so-called, I guess they call brown people, aren't they, right? But we never hear about that. Again, slavery was atrocious. Anywhere it has been practiced was atrocious. It is an evil. It is a human stain, not just an American stain. But again, you have people like Nikole Hannah-Jones, the Ibram Kendis, or however you pronounce his name, the Al Sharptons, all these people who use it for their own enrichment. But at the same time, they're not giving the whole picture. They're leaving parts out, and they are enslaving, quote unquote, the minds of the people that really hang on to their words. It's evil. That's all I'm going to say. It's evil.
I want to say this for people who are students of the U.S. Constitution. And I can tell you, take that Hillsdale class. It's for free, Constitution 101. And you will learn that the founders were scared to death to release the slaves because they said, well, wait a minute. They're bigger than us. They're stronger than us. There are more of them than there are of us. Thomas Jefferson literally said, we have the wolf by the ear and we're afraid to let him go. You know, they're afraid that there was going to be a revolt and stuff was going to go bad. And that's no excuse, but it does show you the mindset of the time. We can't judge history based on today's mores. We just cannot. It was an evil time. But if you read the Bible, if you read God's word, he talks about slaves in the Bible. You know, men, the hearts of men is just a dark place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And there's no going around that. But she profited off of it, being myopic, that myopic view, just the victimhood. When you teach Black history, I do a Black history tour for some homeschool kids and anybody else who wants to go along here in Maryland. I talk about how slavery affected both sides of the equation, right? Because sometimes nobody had shoes. Nobody had shoes. The slave master didn't have no shoes. The slaves didn't. I mean, nobody had shoes. Shoes were a luxury item, right? And we grew up together in this very new nation. We grew up together. And yes, there were some hard times, some evil times. Things are not working out to our advantage at some point, but we have still grown under God's blessing. And we're never going to be a perfect union. That's why it says that. A more perfect union, but not a perfect union.
And I was going to say, just on the point that you made, about the growing up together and things, you know, we also are told that this country was built on the backs of slaveries, and that's the slaves. That's not necessarily true. The South really participated in slavery and had the most slaves, and economically they didn't do well. The economic fortune was in the North, with the industry and things like that. That's what built this country, not the South.
Do you know?
I disagree with a little bit about that, as far as slaves, the country not being built on the backs of slaves, at least in the South. I disagree with a little bit. I know what you're saying. To a point, I disagree.
I'm just talking about economy.
Oh,
the
yeah.
economy of the South at the time.
Oh, the economy itself, but the economy, the wealth was held in the plantations and the slave owners.
No, most of the wealth
South
was held in the North.
No. There was northern wealth, but in the South, the plantation holders did have wealth.
They had some wealth, but when you look at the country on a whole, and you're looking at where the economic interests were,
and the slaves could not get free. They were fighting to get free to get to the North so they can participate in that economic wealth.
I'm not saying that was not the case. What I'm saying is most of the wealth during that time was not in the South. It was in the North.
But if you couldn't get there to get the wealth, then what difference did it make?
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is that when we look at the way the economic endings of the country, we're not flourishing, or we did not flourish because of the economy of the South. We flourished
as a whole
because
country
of the economy of the North, most important. And the reason, and one of the biggest reasons why the Union won the war is because they had much more money than the South.
I get that.
And that's historically true.
So I would say that would be a macro point, but I'm going to say a more micro point would be that in the South, the plantation owners did have the wealth. They controlled it there. So that way they were keeping the people, the slaves, if you will, from achieving their economic opportunities. So I'm just saying, so I hear what you're saying I would say from a macro and a micro perspective.
But most people did not own slaves.
No, I get that, but the ones that did, they still had the wealth. But this is the question I had, a thought question. How is it any different from Nikole Hannah-Jones enslaving the minds of young people, particularly? Why is that not considered a form of slavery? She's enslaving their minds instead of saying, again, this is where we were. You are free now. You are free to achieve that. Why is that any less? Why is that not considered worse than, or at least equal on par with physically enslaving people? Mentally enslaving them versus physically enslaving them. I think there's some equality there, if you want to use that word equality. I think there's some correlation there. And I think in a sense, to a degree, I would hold Nikole Hannah-Jones a little bit more culpable because we are free. There's no slavery, but she's still enslaving the minds of people.
For her money, for the grant.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so, slavery hasn't been all about wealth. Slavery was not necessarily, I'm going to go out and enslave Black people because I hate them. It was about building wealth.
Right.
And you were both right? So the South grew agriculturally and the North sold it and they traded it with other people. So as a nation, we had issues. We had issues because we saw things differently.
What I was saying was the economy of the United States was not
the economic driver was the North, absolutely.
Of the South. It was the North.
And that's always the way. The people who grow the fruit never make the good money. It's the people who sell the fruit that make the good money, right? Let's just keep that a buck. But you're right about enslaving the mind. And just from my personal estimation, enslaving the mind affects generations of people. Enslaving the body may affect one generation. And to continually feed children little dribbles that say, we were enslaved and we were treated poorly, it does something to their psyche, their value as human beings.
Right.
That some way they're defective because they were born with beautiful brown skin. And children don't come into the world that way. We teach them that.
Yes.
And that's what needs to change.
Yep, it certainly does. And speaking of grifters within our community, one did not win re-election yesterday, Tiffany Henyard. So she lost in a massive landslide in Dolton. So Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who confidently predicted a landslide victory on election morning, lost in a landslide herself in the primary. She's been riddled with all types of corruption and all types of stuff. Take a look at this. This is clip 9.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all Black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Dolton's difficulties got worse in recent weeks with water main breaks. Henyard blames on trustee budget cuts. Then 4 people were shot and injured last week, leaving nerves frayed, and Henyard's opponents pointing out her sizable security detail.
It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet. The mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work, no work.
Tiffany Henyard considers herself something of a crusader, but one who's clearly annoyed by questions from a rebellious group of Dolton trustees who are in a standoff with her over spending.
At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid.
How about you be a good leader, bring RFPs to the forefront, so not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent.
WGN Investigates has cataloged tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars spent on trips, meals, and more by Tiffany Henyard and her allies in Dolton and on the Thornton Township Board, where she's the supervisor. Township credit card records show Henyard and other officials spent more than $67,000 on trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. Many of the flights were first class. So were the accommodations. In Atlanta, Henyard and her team stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel, costing taxpayers more than $9,000. In New York, the bill came to $13,000. Henyard has refused to explain the specific purpose of the trips or why they travel in such style.
Wow. So she is known as the worst mayor in the country. I think they said she was. But she lost. So.
She lost the mayoral.
Worst mayor.
I don't know. She might be. She's in the running for who then? Who you thinking?
There's another mayor in a little town outside of Chicago in Illinois.
Again?
Well, yeah. And he was drunk driving.
Oh,
and fell asleep in the middle of the freeway.
Oh,
so when they knocked on the window, you know, the fire truck's knocking on his window saying, "Sir, wake up, wake up, wake up." And he's like looking around like, "Oh, where am I?"
Alcohol
and
breath.
they're like, "Bro, you're
Cotton breath."
And he fought them.
Oh, okay.
He fought them tooth and nail.
I don't know, Nikole. I don't know. I think if she's not the worst, she's down short in the running.
Yeah.
But she lost the mayoral race, the primary.
Mm-hmm.
By a huge. Other guy, Jason, he won by a landslide. But so she's still the supervisor, right?
No.
She's still the supervisor. She's still the supervisor of the town.
Because she lost one earlier.
Lost the mayoral.
This was yesterday, but she lost another one a couple of months ago.
Okay.
I thought she was still.
I thought she was still the supervisor. Yeah.
I thought that's what she lost first, and then this one was.
No, they tried to. I think they tried to do something, but they didn't yet. So technically, she's still the supervisor, but she lost the mayoral primary. Or this is the primary, this is the primary one, right? Mm-hmm. She needs to go. I mean, she is horrible. I think she wins. I think she wins as the
running
worst.
for Congress.
Her and Jasmine Crockett.
She's talking about running for Congress. Here's the thing with her. She lost this primary by 75 points, which is an out and out rock.
Yes.
I'm like, she was like 3,200 points. Votes off the primary total. She got like 530. He got like
3,000 something. Yeah.
So they were kind of, not neck and neck or anything. But here's what's interesting. He was on her ticket.
Exactly.
So did they simply swap out?
What you mean?
No, he started going against her. He started, well, at least let me say from the reports that I read, he was on her ticket. He was a supporter at one time.
He was a huge
but now
supporter.
he's going against her for I guess for all the shenanigans that have been going on. So this is going to be interesting to watch, though.
Yeah, because I think for him, it's more political. I know.
Interesting to watch what? It's over for her, right?
No, it's never over in politics. Are you serious? It's never.
Even if they have the general, she can't run because she.
She can't run, but she can run for other things.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I
see what you mean. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but this for her, this particular chapter is closed. But for me, it didn't make sense to me as a voter, right? I'm not even being political in this moment. But if you stumped for her, you got to go. Because you knew what kind of crazy this windbag was bringing with her.
So far, again, I don't know all of these politics there, but it looks like, quote unquote, at least on paper, it appears that he is now against her for all the things that she's been doing. He wants more transparency. He wants more accountability. At least that's what he's saying to the people in Dolton.
Right, but where was that wanting transparent? Because this, what I'm saying is, she didn't get brand new.
Right.
This is who she's been the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
but
The whole
remember,
time.
they have been taking her to court, but she's been winning.
No, but she's saying he was on her team initially.
No, I know,
Pushing
right?
her.
But people have been taking her to court. Some of the residents there, but she has been winning. The court have been siding with her, saying, "No, you were legally elected, whatever."
Right, she's duly
so
elected
so
mayor.
some people in her camp, they are no longer. They're seeing how much of a lunatic she is, and a thief, and whatever else. So now these people are saying, "You know what? I'm not going to be associated with this. I can't support this." So I will applaud him in that sense.
Yes.
So far.
He's waking up to smell
So
the
far.
coffee, but he looks like a political animal to me. And he says, okay, this one's crazy, but now it's my turn. We're going to look to see. Now that they just won the primary.
Right.
He's going to be up against an independent. Apparently there are no Republicans in this town. I don't know what's going on, but an independent named Cassandra. And I hope Cassandra is running on the fact that he stumped for her.
She may.
Right.
She may.
They,
what you're saying.
they all pigs in the blanket.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Let's clean house.
Yeah, she may do
You
that.
know what she should do? She should get a broom, and that should be her thing. Like, sweep them out, sweep clean. Let's burn it to the ground and build up from the top. Build up from the bottom. Here's the problem with this. This is the way Democrat minds think.
Mhm.
Oh, well, she done lost her damn mind. We're gonna vote her out, but we're gonna take the
We'll take
her.
her. Yeah,
Right?
that's the risk. That's the risk.
Do that.
That is the
Yeah, and
risk.
they do that all the time, and there's always somebody in the wings waiting.
Yes.
Of course, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was probably
Right.
watching. I think for him, the tipping point was the fight.
Oh,
When she
you
got
think
her
so?
wig snatched off. I think that was the moment for him, and he was like, you know what? I could probably beat her in an election.
Yeah, it's a smart
Probably
thing.
beat her.
It's a
You know?
politically savvy thing to do because most people knew she wasn't going to win. So it's like, okay, this is an easy win for me to run against
Maybe,
her.
okay.
Listen,
Even
I
though
love that she talked all that trash though. She was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna win in a landslide. I was like, sis,
Well,
what
she talked
planet
just
are
like
you
Jasmine
living
Crockett
on?
did.
Yeah. Yeah, two wigs, and hopefully they snatch Jasmine's next. So, the final thing for the night. Well, first, let me go ahead and acknowledge our super chatters, folks. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. We have Vida says Karen Bass calls Biden sent her to Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He did send her to Africa.
yes, he did. Kung Fu
They call her
CJ
hood
with the
booger.
$5 super chat says this hood booger is out, and the African in Illinois is out also.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Who's the African?
It's a long story.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, we gotta talk about that later. Okay.
All right, Willie Lynch syndrome. Vita
Yes.
says, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Vita says with the $5 super chat says Christopher Columbus's diaries talked about seeing African artifacts when he washed up on the shores.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Vita says take a college Black history class.
Yes, that's what she should
Don't
have
take
done.
Nikole Hannah's.
No,
right.
no,
Look,
right,
nothing
right.
that says 1619. Let's avoid that about with everything you have.
All right. So finally, I wanted to just talk about this last story. We saw recently Dan Bongino is in as the FBI Deputy Director. Of course, Kash Patel is the director. We got Pam Bondi. We've have a really good, solid run team of law enforcement. And so now, I think everyone, especially conservatives, are asking, are they going to go after all the people that did us wrong over the last 4 to 8 years? And one of them is James Comey. So there are talks that there's going to be an investigation against him now. This is him a couple years ago, clip 1. Take a look.
Are you concerned that it may get a test unlike any other if Donald Trump is reelected? I mean, when you think about a second Trump administration, what do you think the implications would be for the FBI?
Oh, serious for the Justice Department and the FBI, because Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time. So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time, but people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American. This election matters. Because of a reason like that, people have to participate. You cannot sit on the sideline. I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden, you must vote for him because the consequences on the other side are too severe.
Yeah, those consequences are he may be getting caught.
Exactly.
And this, it looks like, is what's going to happen. The FBI has reportedly launched an investigation into an off-the-books operation predating Crossfire Hurricane that former director Jame Comey allegedly ordered with the aim of infiltrating President Trump's 2016 campaign. According to the Washington Times, the bureau under the leadership of Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino are looking for a pair of once undercover female employees who were allegedly directed to worm their way into the Trump camp as honeypots when traveling with then presidential candidate and his team.
Operation Honeypot.
Yeah. Shelley, what do you think about this?
I say go for it. Only because I'm saying that primarily because I don't like Jame Comey. I'm just being honest. That's the only reason. That's the primary reason. But he may have something to worry about because I was just Googling real quick. I wasn't sure, but apparently Biden did not pardon him.
No, he didn't pardon him. He
right.
Didn't pardon Comey.
So this is probably why he's coming out now. He's trying to redirect or misdirect the news cycle or whatever. But I think they're coming for your ass, Comey.
I think she's right. I think she's right. He's using misinformation and disinformation. Let me speak like a Democrat. Listen, when you set other people up, karma will come for you. The worm has turned and his worst nightmare has happened. He's got to be somewhere thinking, there's not a place on the planet I can hide from Kash Patel. And he can't.
Yeah.
He cannot. There's no, between Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, where you going to go?
And you know what's interesting? Biden didn't pardon him, right? This is so, like you said, karma. And then he went through all of those shenanigans to clear, quote unquote, Hillary Clinton and, give the reason why she should be prosecuted, but then nobody reasonable would do it. And he didn't even get pardoned. He went through all of that. He fed the reporter the reports, the what do you call it? The secret
dossiers.
Yeah, the dossier, whatever. He did all of that, and Biden did not pardon him. He left him ass out. That's how we say it in the hood. He left him ass out. So.
I think he thought that going to the media would protect him.
Yeah.
This is the wonderful thing about alternative media, right? Alternative media has become so increasingly popular. The more that the Democrats on legacy media double down on DEI, double down on men and women's sports, people are turning that off, but they still have to have entertainment. So most people go home and turn on YouTube and they watch shows like this and other shows that kind of give them a little bit of a flavor of what's actually going on in the world. So Comey running to the media and they've got the Trump mafia, the MAGA mafia show going on, which is crazy. I don't think we operate like a mafia. I wish we did. Let me tell you, I'd love to be a capo. You know what I mean?
I think they're going to go after him. And again, to their credit, I believe that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and all the administration, they're going to, again, go after him legally, justly, if you will, justified cause, unlike he did, or he didn't uphold his role as FBI agent. But I believe that. But my preference would be just to go after him just because. Just because.
I want to know who he's going to turn on, what names he's going to give up. That's going to be juicy. And let me tell you.
And he gives up names, so.
Go ahead and buy you a cup. Black, white, not black, not white, an American
Which one
cup.
do I have?
Go ahead and get your Poppin' Politics cup. Fill it up with liberal tears. And then I want you to maybe pop a little corn.
And sip it.
And when Pam Bondi is questioning this guy, go ahead and sit back and go, damn, because that's what it's going to be like.
I'm going to have to give me some Prosecco for that one.
She's going to eat his lunch, and leave no crumbs.
I'm going to have to give me some Prosecco for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get if you don't have a cup, order one now. Let me tell you, they're a little behind because I ordered a bunch of stuff. And y'all don't know this about me, but sometimes I get a little rowdy. And I was like, where the hell's my stuff?
I want to see him go on the investigative record, because when he gave his hearing, his testimony at the hearing, he was over 200 times. Yes. I don't recall. I want to see again this questioning. I'm going to get my Prosecco. We may have to have a watch party for it.
Oh, well, I don't know. Not me. I want them to do him old school FBI style, no cameras, have him in the back room somewhere and grill him all night until he
we gotta have cameras.
Out. They're not gonna be waterboarding this man.
Waterboard him. I'm for all of them. Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
So, All right. Well, folks, we will keep you informed about what happens next on all of it and more. Want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Folks, thank you all so much. We appreciate you.
Sure.
Kung Fu CJ,
Yes.
congratulations to 140,000
Yay.
subs.
Woo.
Yes, yeah, we did. Oh, Kung Fu CJ.
Thank you.
He's always so sweet.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we did.
He's such a gentleman.
I know.
We did. We hit 140,000 subs today.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you guys so much for letting us talk crazy to you.
Yeah.
Have a good time, right?
Yeah, and supporting us and our other channels. Folks, you know, tomorrow night I have Christian Conservative.
Right. Yes.
Please watch tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We will be on. You can check us out on YouTube at Christian Conservative or at KJCJ Christian Conservative. Yes, so definitely check us out tomorrow night. We'll be on at 9 p.m. And then we have the other channels here. The next one will be Saturday is Just the Guys. We'll talk about that on Friday. But yeah, guys, we are here. These are our sister stations of Pop and Politics, all talking about conservative content from different perspectives. So definitely check us out. And I think we have some more super chats here. Yeah. So let me see here. We have, all right, Taurus Princess with a $10 super chat. Says, off topic, I've missed the Joyless Read topics, but time to retire Michael Jordan crying. Joy Reid, the new meme. I know, that's a good point.
We talked about her on Monday, right?
We did talk. We talked about
her on
it,
Monday,
yeah.
so you have to go watch that.
Yeah,
Taurus.
our last live, we did a whole segment on that. And we went in. Oh, yes, we went in. Yeah, it was terrible. Oh my God,
this is so good.
Yeah,
you all.
That's a good one though. She would be the next crying.
You all would not believe how we went in. I know you would. You wouldn't think that we would utter those kinds of words.
Oh yeah. Are you ashamed?
No.
All right. Yeah, we're not fazed by her black tears.
No,
because she was not fazed by the white tears.
Listen, I got a cup full of them.
Yeah. All right. So we got another super chat. Rico says, "Why are we believing why we only make up 13% of the population?" That's a good
I make up a whole woman.
Oh my.
Okay.
God.
Well, wait a minute. Here she goes.
I make up a whole woman.
On the shirt. Okay.
Female, the real thing.
The real thing.
Yeah, she is. She's 100% female. We were talking about it actually earlier.
Don't go.
All right, Vita is a YouTube member.
Trying to kill me. You know I'm trying to hang on with a little bit of bronchitis. She's trying to kill me.
All right, thank you so much.
Who else we got? Oh, we said Vita. Did you say Vita?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
I said got Vita. So
and we got another one.
Yes, we did. All right.
Vita says she still can't gift a membership to someone else.
I
don't know how that works, but we should look into it.
Yeah, we'll look into that. We will.
Thank you. Right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, that does it for us tonight. So we will be back on Friday, right? And we have a special guest this week. I think Joy Vila.
Yes, it's Friday.
I think it is this Friday. Joy Vila will be on with us. So you guys know Joy. She's been all over social media. Sure. She goes to the award shows and she has a
nice lady. She's nice, yeah.
She's going to be on with us this Friday. So definitely check us out. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. We do a late night live on Fridays, so it's really going to be good.
Yeah, hang out with us on Friday night.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, that does it for us tonight. Until next time, count your blessings. We got another super chat. Yes, Lord, a whole woman.
Yes, girl.
Yes, she is. Yes, we are all 100% woman.
Not 100%. Sis, just woman.
Yeah, we are really woman. Smell good. We cook good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and don't forget our parent station or parent organization, Metro Conservative Media. Please, we thank you for your support and keep the support coming.
Yes,
can I tell you, watch Just the Guys, ladies.
Yes.
Just because it's called Just the Guys doesn't mean we shouldn't watch. I watched it. I made a couple super chats because they my brothers from another mother. You know what I mean? But they have some really hot takes on some things that made me stop and go, well, wait, what? But what you say, give me the small hats? What you talking about? And then reason and logic. And of course, CT is on there. And so the show is really, really interesting to hear what we think. I got through a man's lens, and it is very, very
I got a
interesting.
secret for you all. When you watch Just the Guys, if you want to get them riled up, don't mention child support.
Oh my God.
Wait, so my next super chat is going to be child support.
So if you want to see them riled up, then you got to mention it. But I'm just warning you. You might not want to mention child support. And I'm just letting you know. I'm just warning you. Word to the wise.
It's a great show, so you should definitely tune in, ladies. It is worth the watch. If you are a conservative woman and are a fan of conservative men, it is the end all be all.
Yes,
These men are really, really good. And if Christian conservatives, KJ and CJ, I'm gonna tell you now, I love me some Christian. That little mama gets on there and just blows her stack and then smiles this beautiful angelic smile. And you're like, what is going on here? Right. It's like, I don't know whether I'm gonna clap or be mad at her.
I know.
But by the end of the show, you absolutely adore the energy between her and KJ. So we have some tremendous shows.
Yeah.
So again, get you a nice cup, fill it up with some liberal tears, kick
Some
back.
Prosecco.
Shelly and this Prosecco.
Oh.
Like people let
This
her
is not
drink
Prosecco. This is actually water.
Right. All right. So we are all set. So yes, indeed. We will see you guys tomorrow night on Christian Conservative. We'll be back Friday night here on Poppin' Politics and then Saturday night for Just the Guys. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.
It's time for Pop in Politics. It appears that time period following slavery and Jim Crow were not as harmful to the Black community as the legacy of liberalism and the welfare state.
Because you have this candidate that checks all these boxes. Well, she's Black-ish, check the box. She's female, check the box. She's from California, check the box. And she's not Joe Biden. Right. Most importantly, check the box. We ought to win. Somebody roll out Beyonce.
You lie, you steal, you cheat, you cause fear, you cause all kinds of chaos, and now you want us to somehow take your sob stories as if you're on our side. Get the...
We are seeing, how Marxism, how communism have infiltrated many of our institutions, and one of the main institutions that have been infiltrated is the church. Welcome to Christian Conservative.
The Christian agenda is good for everybody.
President Trump, he's embracing God's design for the identity of man that you would think Christians would be happy about and hold on to, but they're not, especially Black Christians.
That's a very scary place to be. If you deny me in front of people, Jesus said, I would deny you in front of my Father.
This was political. They wanted to make an example out of you.
God forbid I had kissed the ring. I would have kissed the ring and still got sentenced that same way.
I said, Lord, you put him in because your sister was in jail.
Welcome back to the All-American Talk Show.
We are talking about OnlyFans, otherwise known as Lonely Fans.
And 4.1 million creators, 84% are female. They earn an average of $180 per month.
Bill's gonna go meet someone in an alley by a dumpster, and KJ and I are gonna keep talking for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I had a bad dream, Giovanni. It's like I had to watch multiple minutes of The View.
As Maryland literally tried to take the word parent out of health education.
I don't care about the public schools, and I don't care about the teachers there. What I care about are that the students who go there get the education they need to become productive adults.
Just the Guys Podcast.
They all look the same. He's a real pretty boy, asking the questions real softly and nodding his head. Yes, mama. Yes, mama.
Madam President, these gentlemen do not believe that you are intelligent. I beg to differ.
I was the first vice president or president to ever in office go to a reproductive health care clinic.
Her strategy to win Black votes was putting a twerking rapper on stage, saying that she cooked collard greens in the bathtub.
And you see a lot of Black men typically vote in the way of the cooch.
When you take government out of it, things go back to where they're supposed to go. All of these things that the guy should have done to protect himself, why don't we just say keep your legs closed?
80% of the world walking out there is hedonistic degenerates who believe freedom is defined by how hedonistic and degenerate you express yourself.
You better thank a union member.